Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and there's been a very funky dev interview. Now, this was done with Reinforce. He was, of course, the analyst that was let go from Overwatch League, but is coming back in some capacity, although we don't know what that is, but I'm really hyped to see him back. I thought he was really good on the desk, so I don't want to see him leave. That would be sad. Anyway, let's get stuck into this. So, Reinforce was at Blizzard, and he was in their creator corner or creator stream station, whatever it is. Basically, they've got a room in Irvine, where the head office is, where you can stream Overwatch, and, yeah, it's from the head office. However, sometimes devs walk around this area and they come over and they talk to whoever is streaming. Now, this is really good because the devs give a lot of insight. The problem is, this is all very obscure insight in a place where nobody can see it. So, I want to give a massive hats off to Desks Up on Reddit, because he has put a post together which goes over a lot of stuff that was spoken about in this kind of interview, because I guess it was an interview. It's like a casual chat with the devs. You guys have all seen this. In fact, I think I was the first one to do this, I think, from Gamescom back in... No, from BlizzCon in 2016. I did it with Tim Ford, remember, for Sombra. Good lord, I was the first. Anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. That's what a bombshell. What we're going to do in this video is go over the bulk of this and kind of break it down, because it's really interesting. Because remember, Jeff Goodman is the primary or principal hero designer. He designs the balance of the game, the direction of the game, the new hero abilities. That's what he's involved in. He's basically the big boss man when it comes to the way Overwatch is played. Okay. So, to begin with, he talks about GOATs and triple DPS and, you know, about all the various meta comps that have been around over the years. Although, I've no doubt you guys have looked at the title of this video and you're like, what the hell, Bastion Rework? Well, I just want to say straight away, they don't have any plans, according to Jeff, for reworks right now. But if they did, it would almost certainly be Bastion. That is interesting, because Bastion is very strong at what he does. We've all been there when we've thrown a Bastion onto a payload and just rolled through Junkertown or rolled through, I don't know, Route 66. Bastion is surprisingly quite good there if the enemy team don't do anything about him. And I've seen this happen at practically all levels of the game, even in GM, which is kind of funny when it happens, because it's like, come on guys, do something about the Bastion. So, potential Bastion rework, but not for a long time. Now, Jeff also acknowledges the massive community complaining with crowd control overload. Now, we do know they are looking at that, and actually, Jeff did say there will be a new PTR going up next week. So what we expect is when the Winter Wonderland event goes live, the current PTR will go offline. Possibly that PTR then goes live with all of the other stuff with Winter Wonderland, and then we get a new PTR that goes up on Thursday, so 2 days after the event starts, and it has more balance changes to crowd control abilities. That would be funky, because of course we know that Brigitte's shield bash no longer bashes through shields, which has loads of implications. Anyway, he also goes on to say they've spoke a lot about GOATs. Now, they say it's very hard to just go in and address this and fix it. It's kind of like Dive Comp, where they tried really small changes, which caused Dive to go away and then come back. But then, of course, they just introduced Brigitte. And then he does basically admit that, well, yeah, Brigitte was probably a bit too strong in the fact that she just came in and completely countered a comp. Now, remember when Brig came out, Jeff Kaplan made a load of dev update. Well, made one dev update, I guess, and he was like, yeah, the new hero, it's going to be meta changing. Well, it's because they wanted to change Dive. Jeff Goodman does say, there's a lot of Jeffs in game development, does say in this sort of mini interview, of which there is a link to the stream in the video description, that it's difficult to, I guess, keep the flow of the game going. It becomes stale when the meta is the same all of the time. Players want change, so the devs kind of want to make change, but they want to do changes that forces the meta to change in a good way. And Brigitte probably wasn't the answer to that. Now, another thing that he goes on to say is the reason why they've changed Brig, and the change she's got on the PTR right now, is her Inspire uptime. So this is her heal. So whenever she does damage, she heals, doesn't she, passively. They don't think the change is actually going to matter too much for GOATs, but they think it will enable other comps. So what they're trying to do is make Brig still good, which is kind of frightening in a way, but have her usable in other comps. I think what they're trying to do is remove this triple support comp, and so Brig can function as the off healer or the flex healer. So you've got your Ana, your Moira, or your Mercy, but then you could have, well, a Brig with that, and it provides enough healing. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. We're going to have to wait and see how that pans out. And of course, he does say that the mirror comp of Brig versus Brig is going to be completely different now, because Brig can't bash the other Brig through the shield. So that's not the counter anymore. I mean, we think here at Unit Lost that actually that's going to be a bit more ridiculous, because It's one less counter to Brig. So Brig's actually way more tanky. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see how that kind of comes through. Then he does go on to say that, yes, they are looking to make sure the meta has more options, which, again, I kind of briefly covered. And they also like to introduce new heroes or adjust old heroes to make sure that there's enough sort of variety in team comps, which, again, is funky. Because you look at the way Symmetra's been changed and Torbjorn, it kind of really hasn't achieved anything, has it? They're still in the same place. People just don't use them as much as other heroes, even though you could say that Sim allows for crazy tactics, and she does, but is that really worth the trade-off when you could just throw in, like, an actual DPS? Now, here's another thing. D.Va. He says this comes up a lot in their conversations. Now, D.Va is very, very strong in the sense she has a very high pick rate, especially at the highest level of the game. In fact, D.Va is a hero you can play pretty much in every team comp. She just works absolutely everywhere. And the reason for that is Defense Matrix. Now, I recently made a video on the channel where I went into detail on why D.Va is so good, so go and check that out, guys, if you haven't. Anyway, he does say that they've got no direct plans to reduce her pick rate or her power or whatever, but they do feel that Defense Matrix is her best and biggest thing. Now, he does say that there are suggestions going around where people say, hey, maybe Defense Matrix depletes when it takes damage faster, so if you all fire into it, you can burn it down, but then it's essentially becoming a barrier, and they don't want it to be a barrier. They want it to be Defense Matrix. They also say that they see suggestions asking them to make more heroes that D.Va doesn't counter. But he was kind of secretly hoping that Symmetra would be this hero because of her primary firepower increase. Kind of isn't, is it? Because, I mean, you're not going to take a Symmetra against the D.Va just because there's a D.Va on the enemy team. You may as well take an Ashe or something, which will probably kill the D.Va faster. Anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. They also say that they deflect and Defense Matrix can be bypassed by beams, and that's a rule, and they will never probably change that, which does make sense. It would be stupid if you were deflecting beams back. This isn't Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. That's actually the worst reasoning I've probably ever given for anything, but whatever, ladies and gentlemen. Then he does say that he thinks Mei and Sim have got a lot of potential. Now, Mei, we're actually working on a video on Mei because I think Mei actually is a really strong hero in a lot of situations, but I think she needs a little bit of something just to push her along the way. But it's interesting that Jeff does think that Mei and Sim have got a lot of potential that is just kind of not there because people just pick other heroes because it's easier to get value. I mean, I guess that kind of says it all, right? Now, remember, guys, these are not direct quotes that I'm reading off here. I'm sort of ad-libbing them as well. They are taken from the stream, so you guys can go back and check it out. However, like, the gist of what he was saying is being passed across in this video, at least I believe, or I hope that it is. They're planning on making more healers as well, so that's good. I mean, they're always planning on new heroes, DPS heroes. They're always making new events, always making new maps, they're always making new skins. So stuff like that isn't really news. It would be news if you went, hey, the next hero is a healer, because everyone would go, oh, good stuff. But he hasn't, so whatever. That's just kind of like a standard generic PR response. But then something completely ridiculous where he just says, yeah, we're experimenting with railguns. Railguns? I'm like, what? And then he actually does go on to say that there may likely be a burst fire weapon hero in the game. Now, this is really funky to me because if you look at Ashe, Ashe is clearly a weapon-focused hero. It's not a crazy Overwatch hero like Hammond with mental abilities, turns into a ball, rolls around, grappling hook, crazy stuff that could only exist in Overwatch. She's straight up an FPS hero. If we're going to see more heroes like that, that could be funky. Railguns, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see how that actually works out. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for that because I kind of like those type of heroes. Anyway, there may be more game modes in the arcade coming as well, which again is similar to when they say, hey, we've got new maps coming and whatever. They love playing Mystery Heroes, which is fine. Mystery Heroes, I think, is really fun if you're playing it with friends in the same room, probably, or playing it with your friends online. I'm sad and don't have any friends, so I can't do that. So to me, it's just a waste of time, but whatever. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it's not a waste of time. It's fun to play if you want to warm up, but you don't get to select your heroes, so it's just a bit of a mess. It's I don't know, it's weird. I just play free-for-all because that's just the type of idiot that I am, ladies and gentlemen. They've been talking about matching or syncing up the live patch with the patch that Overwatch League is being played on. This is good because it is so annoying when you're watching Overwatch League and they're like, oh yeah, this is the old Mercy that was fixed 2 weeks ago, but it's not actually in Overwatch League because we can't change it because the teams have all been scrimming on the patch and we don't want to mess them up. I don't even care. You guys know that I work for London Spitfire. I literally do not care. I think they should just update at the same time. Screw it. It'll be more fun. It means what team can adapt fast. I'll tell you something. One thing we learned last year is NYXL are not very fast at adapting. So when things change quick, other teams start beating them. And that's really, really spicy, ladies and gentlemen. So give us more of that. And, well, London were quite good at doing that as well. Anyway, that's probably why I don't care. But I think it would be good, right? You want to see what you want the pros to be playing what you're playing, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. You want to go back and watch a sport if the rules were different. Like, if you played soccer or football and there was no offside in your games, but there was offside in the pro games, you'd be like, what the hell is this? It would be annoying as hell. Anyway, moving on. Farah's concussive blast dealt damage to barriers earlier on. They took that away because she felt too mandatory against barriers all the time. Now, that's funky, isn't it? Imagine that. Concussive blast reduced barriers? Or got rid of them? That'd be really funky. See, I like stuff like that. It's cool when they say things like that because there's loads of little bits and like tidbits of information that you never really know. And when you talk to the devs, if you guys ever get a chance to talk to them, sometimes they tell you about little things that they've done, and it's really cool. It'd be awesome to make a video like with all of that stuff in, especially if they had footage of that. That'd be so cool. Anyway, he then says they don't want super hard counters. They have this one thing, and I have this other hero that literally says, if they have that thing, I just win. Why is Brigitte in the game then, Blizzard? Blizzard, why did you even introduce her? That's shocking, isn't it? Anyway, internally, they say they take inspiration from every game. Now, I believe Jeff Goodman literally plays every game. Honestly, every game going. Like, he's just a madman. He plays everything. Crazy. But you need to do that, right? Because it kind of gives you insight into what's going on with other games, and there may be abilities that you can steal from other games or maybe change slightly, you know, just sort of here's my homework, copy it but don't make it look the same kind of thing. And yeah, you know, yeah, then you get Ash. Hang on, isn't that a hero in League of Legends? But it's not, it doesn't have a bow. Anyway, moving on. Tac visor, there's some interesting bits on this. So when they first made it, it didn't speed up reload, but apparently the reason why they increased the duration, they wanted to increase the duration to make up for it, but it was a bad feeling when a target almost died, but then didn't because you ran out of ammo. So instead they made you reload quicker, but they've got no plans to just remove the reload because they think the reload is actually part of the balance of that ability, and I think it is. The thing with Tac Visor, it's okay, but everyone's behind a barrier these days, or there's defense matrix in your face. If the D.Va player on the enemy team is not a colossal idiot, as soon as they hear, I've got you in my sights, they just come at you with the defense matrix, and you're like, well, great. Or they just fly at you, and you just shoot D.Va, and then she's like, yeah. Probably one of the worst ultimates in it. Well, it is one of the worst ultimates in the game. Shocking. Unless you get behind on a crazy flank, but then, yeah, who the hell is on a crazy flank? Well, probably everybody, because they're all playing in solo queue, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, Global Ultimate Charge. They don't think they'll do anything to this. It's kind of uncertain, but they were playing around with prototypes of weak ultimates that charged much faster. Now, you know what? I like Pulse Bomb. I think Pulse Bomb is a really nice ultimate. If every ultimate in Overwatch was similar to Pulse Bomb, so it charged fast, but then it was a little kind of skill shot ability, that'd be really cool. Because you'd have to land it, right? And sometimes you'd get value, sometimes you wouldn't. One of the issues with the ultimates in Overwatch is you always get value when you press Q. If you are Zen and like you're brain dead and all you do is wait for Genji to whip his blade out and press Q and then follow him around, well, then you're doing your job, and that's not really difficult, right? There's a lot of ultimates in the game you just kind of press and it's like, hey, yeah, I'm ulting, we win, way. Some of them have got skill, don't get me wrong. You know, Shatter, for example, Graviton, even though that's kind of easy to pull off. You could argue D.Va Bomb, but nothing is really like Pulse Bomb, is it? And Pulse Bomb is probably one of the original ultimates in the game because we know that Tracer is one of the early heroes, so maybe they toyed around with this back then when everything was a really rapid charging ultimate. Be interesting to see what they had in mind for ultimates back in the day. Anyway, all right, moving on. So they're adjusting the barrier effect. Now, what this means is the visual effect on the PTR, on the live service. So when Winston's barrier gets, like, it's all messy. It's like a crazy disco show. Apparently, they're going to fix that, so that's good. Bans have been talked about forever. Now, bans is something that we want to make a video on here at Unit Lost, but the problem is, with bans, there isn't enough heroes in the game, and Jeff Goodman basically says this. Also, if you just ban heroes, it severely screws over team compositions, because if you ban, like, the tanks, well, what the hell are we going to play? Just all DPS? What if you've got a tank player in your team? You know, it's really weird, bans. And what about for a spectator sport perspective? You know, you don't really want to ban, like, the best, I don't know, Widowmaker, or you don't really want to ban Widow or McCree when you see Pine on the list, do you? Because you want to see Pine play those heroes, or you don't want to see, I don't know, Zen be banned for Jonah. That's actually the example that Jeff gives. You know, I wouldn't want to see Reinhardt banned if Gesture was going to play him. You know, it'd be what the hell? I want to see this, please. It'd be really sad. So I don't think bans are coming anytime soon. But like I said, there is a massive discussion to have on bans, and I'm sure we will have that at some point. And yeah, that's kind of it. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is link to this Reddit thread in the video description, and also to the stream as well, where you guys can go and check it out. Of course, it's got the dev there. You can sit through and watch it. But I've sort of added my own bit of spice to all of this stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. One day I can talk probably. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, remember to like the video and click the bell because you'll get alerted to when videos go live. I've been Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost. And yeah, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. Toodaloo.